What's happening, y'all? This is Wild Wild Westworld. I'm your host, Sir Cussalott Travis Pointer, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Mara the Shark Watkins, and Johnny
Hi.
Jums Grutzius, because Mara was confused for some reason. Like, I don't know if she just
Hello.
forgot her name for a second, or like she...
She did have a look of confusion. I was also wondering. I was confused by her confusion.
yeah. Like, why were you not understanding that I'm saying, like, yeah, you're part of the show? Like,
Because you said it, and then I expected there to be like a quick gap so I could say hi, and then it went straight into Johnny's name, and I was just like, oh, okay.
You made that face before I said John's name, though. Like,
Because you were still talking. Yeah, guzzle it back, Boozy.
Anyway, we're here to talk about this.
Sorry.
Get used to it. We're here to talk about the most recent episode of Westworld. Sorry we didn't go live like right afterwards like normal, but you know, holidays and all that kind of shit. Sorry you gotta wait. Whatever. Get over it. We're still gonna talk about it.
Waiting.
Patience is a virtue.
This is true. How y'all doing today?
It's hot.
It is.
I'm doing well. My AC unit's right there, so I'm doing straight. I'm not that hot.
I'm about to say,
You
my
and your
vent is
AC.
right here, and it doesn't even matter because I'm in fucking South Texas, and it's hot as shit in here. But,
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah. Anyway, we're here to talk about Westworld. This most recent episode 206, called Phase Space. So before we really get into the nitty gritty and all that, overall thoughts, what did you think of it?
I liked it.
It was pretty-
Yes, I liked
I liked it because it had everyone in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't leave any characters behind this episode. That's true. A lot of last few episodes we've been focusing on like, you know, one or two characters.
Mm-hmm.
This one they gave us all of them in the
Everybody, you right. That's what I liked about it.
This is true. John likes the big groups.
Well, yeah, because it's easier to get everyone rather than, you know, trying to remember. It's like what they do on Game of Thrones in a sense, where it's like, you know, one episode it has two regions, and then another episode it has a different two regions. I mean, this is more when everyone was more separated as opposed to now it's 2 and 2. So instead of trying to remember what, you know, happened with William and Bernard 2 episodes ago, and then it goes to Dolores and Maeve, and then it comes back, you know, it was easier just to have them all flow together.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense.
I know it does.
What's the name? What's the fucking name of that show? The Walking Dead did that. Where they had like a few episodes where they just focused on like one character and like left everybody alone. Like for an entire season they were doing that, like focusing on like one specific group of characters per episode.
Yeah.
Not a good idea because you forget about what was happening before when you finally get
for
back to that
sure.
character. So it's
Yeah,
just,
especially with like detailed shows, like such detailed crucial shows like that, like Walking Dead.
Yeah,
Game
just
of Thrones.
stick plots. Yeah.
It's kind of like it's a lot when you take episodes off from showing what's going on. Like
exactly.
when you deviate from what Rick is trying to do, and then you deviate from that from 4 episodes, and then it just comes back to it. I'm just like, what the fuck was your plan again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're like, oh,
What
we
are we
spent all
doing?
this time with Carl last week. Like, okay. Wait, we're talking about Sasha again? Like, what the fuck is... Wait, I don't remember what Sasha was doing the last time we saw her. Like, yeah.
I
all that.
stopped watching Walking Dead. It pissed me off.
I have to catch up.
I'm
so
purposely being very vague about stuff and not talking about recent stuff when I say that, you know, for people who aren't caught up. But, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you for that.
Yeah. Like, with
Yeah.
that being The Walking Dead, 1, 2, or all those characters that I just mentioned may be dead now.
All of them are dead. Everybody dies.
Eventually, yeah.
The next season's just about zombies.
The whole next season, The Walking Dead, it's just zombies walking around. There are no living people left.
It's just them roaming, trying to catch squirrels and shit, and they get pissed off.
Because they, or like some little small rat or something runs underneath the door, and they're just banging up like up against the door because they can't figure out how doorknobs work.
That's That's all you get for 40 minutes.
Yeah. It's gonna fucking kill.
Oh man. Anyway, we're talking about Westworld now, not zombies
that's
and Walking
right.
Dead. Mara, you weren't on the show last week, but this happened a lot last week's episode, like where me and John just kept going like way off subject.
We got off track a lot.
So much last week. Like
I'm so sad that I wasn't able to talk last week because like that was a really great episode and I had so much I wanted to say.
Well, throw it out there. What did you want to say about last week? What do you...
Maeve is such a badass.
I mean, she is. She's a bad motherfucker.
I love her.
And, you know, it was just kind of, well, I wasn't going to say funny, but it was like, you know, when they were talking about Maeve was just like, you took our stories and copywrote them for other people. And Homeboy was just like, well, you try to think of like 50 million different storylines to do.
Also, is it really copyright if it's your story?
Right. I mean, it's all his
like, as he wrote it for one park and then he just wrote it again for another park. It was his shit.
Yeah, but remember, Maeve isn't thinking as like a product of the park. She's thinking it of as this is her life.
I feel you.
She knows.
I get it. But my thing is, who's to say that it was your story first? Like,
well, yeah, I totally understand that. I also understand what she's talking about. It's just like, it's kind of hard trying to reason with her because she's like, you guys gave us these stories and these emotions, and then you get upset when we start to act on our emotions.
Mm-hmm. That's one of those things like, yeah, I'm going to take the point of view of the owners of the park for a second, even though I will admit that, you know, it's gotten to the point where they're wrong. But it's just, basically, you're our property, you're a product, and we can do what the fuck we want with you. So we purposed you for this specific thing. It works over here, so clearly it'll work over here. So let's just do it over there again. Just twist it up a little bit. We're going to do that. We're going to do it with samurais. Like
samurais and geishas.
Was Westworld the first world?
They have been very unclear about that. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what came first.
I don't think it's the first one, but I guess I'm taking it as it's probably their most popular.
I think maybe I would guess that Westworld came before Shogun World because of what's the writer dude's name?
Ford? Or no, the writer dude. Yeah, I always forget.
Yeah, that fuck. I don't know. Anyway, he said in a previous episode, Shogun World was made for people who think that Westworld is too tame.
It's too tame.
So
right.
it's like, so Shogun World was like a response to Westworld kind of thing, is what it seems like. So I would think that Westworld came before Shogun World. You know,
that makes sense.
Now, as far as everything else, because there's multiple parks, there's more than just those two parks. We know for sure. We know that the whole thing with India, with the tigers and shit.
And then there's where the natives are.
Well, that's part of Westworld, though, I think.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I just thought that was like the Native American type.
Yeah, that's part of Westworld.
I'm starting to think that Westworld might be the first one, but it also might be their biggest one. Because I feel like it's so big and so expansive. Do you know what I mean?
It probably feels like that, though, because that's where we spent the most time.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't been in much in the other worlds.
We haven't really been in the other worlds. Yeah, exactly. We haven't really been in the other ones. They might be just as big as Westworld. We just haven't spent time in
Westworld is big as fuck, though. Like, that motherfucker.
Yeah, because when I'm thinking about, you know, this past week's episode, you know, Maeve finally reaches her daughter bot. Yes, I said that. And, you know, but she had to go all the way around through Shogun World, which is why I thought maybe the natives were in another world.
Well, she didn't have to go through Shogun World to get there. They had to go like out of the park and go up in another spot to get there. They ended up in Shogun World through other shit. Like, it wasn't like them on their way to get to her daughter to get to it. It was you remember how they got to where her daughter was? They left Shogun World with that little laundry chute for, you know, dead robots. And came up out of something else. So they just had to get to an exit, and the closest exit, I guess, was in Shogun World.
Gotcha. Okay, that
Now,
makes sense.
the Shogun was first introduced with Maeve, right? When it was chasing her?
Yeah.
So how the fuck did they get to that point? I don't remember.
They were just traveling
kept
and shit. They kept
They literally
going.
just kept walking.
Yeah, because Maeve was on some other shit, and she was just like, "Yo, we're gonna do this shit. We're gonna go find my daughter," and he was making her do it, and they ended up in Shogun World through their travels, and that's when he was just like, "Oh shit, we are in another park. Oh shit," you know.
Yeah.
Because Maeve was going in and out of shit the whole time anyway, so.
Right.
Yes.
Also, my last part about next week.
Last week.
About last week was.
You seen into the future? What's happening next week?
Oh, a lot. A lot's going down next
Oh,
week.
you ain't wrong. I believe her.
Thank you. When Maeve said, "I think I'm finding a new voice," and she started to control these dudes to fucking killing each other, I was just like, you're amazing, Dandy Newton. Thank you, Luna.
But yeah, so moving on to this week's episode.
Yes.
Kicks off with what we believe is Arnold and Dolores having some kind of talk about, him being nervous about her and all that kind of shit, and where she's turning into and all of that. But it turns out it wasn't actually Arnold. Like, she's like doing some shit. Like, is that Bernard? Like, or is that another one they made? Or like, what the fuck is going on here?
I saw a theory somewhere. Well, it wasn't really a theory, but it was a question that I guess would turn into a theory that Dolores is Bernard. And I don't know. I didn't.
That doesn't make any sense. But
yeah, I didn't say it made sense. I just said it was a question. But I mean, since Dolores seems to be a little bit stronger, smarter, you get what I'm trying to get at. Then I guess she seems to. Then we may realize yet.
Yeah, she's woke.
Huh?
Yeah, she's woke.
Yeah, she's a little more woke about her situation than I think we realized yet. So, like, I don't know, but I feel like if I find more answers about this theory, I'll post it in our Facebook group.
What's the Facebook group, Mara?
Facebook group is www.com/facebook. Oh. It's hot.
Hey, I don't know it.
Facebook.com/Wild.
That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Get it together, Mara. Try it again.
www.facebook.com/groups/Wild Westworld.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If I find that theory and all that stuff, I will send it there.
Now, in the beginning of the episode, Dolores freezes Bernard, right? That was this episode.
Yeah,
right?
she was like, freeze, or what, told her to stop, or whatever.
Freeze all motor functions.
Yeah, like she
so
had control. Like, how did she get control?
That's what I'm saying. And
She
then
got that
had
Maeve
that-
shit.
I think Ford is in Dolores.
That's possible also.
That's what I think. I think Ford is in Dolores, and he can put himself wherever he wants because he's in the system. Now, he's not in Dolores. I think he's in the fucking system, and I feel like he can become any host he wants.
So they were just talking in this episode later on about that whole thing that backs up all their data, and they were saying whatever that system was, I forgot what it was called.
Was it the craft?
Yeah, that's blocking everybody. Like, that might be Ford. So he might be using that to move between the hosts and shit. You might be on to something, sir.
Yeah.
You might be on to something.
We fucking figured it out.
We did.
Let's go viral.
We did. We have solved everything that matters in Westworld season 2.
Y'all might as well just not even finish it.
Don't even finish it. Just watch this episode of Wild Wild Westworld over and over again. This is our
season finale right here.
Yeah. Speaking of, never mind. We'll talk about that when we record this with Flashy Arrow of tomorrow.
There's
Also,
no finale for
listen,
Flash Arrow tomorrow.
listen. It just won't end. Why won't it end, Mara?
When I saw what Matt's comment said, I said,
listen,
I'm gonna hold it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it on fucking when we record that podcast. But there's a reason. See, here's the thing, Mara. I knew better, but I didn't say anything purposely. Anyway, we're gonna move on. We're talking about Westworld right now.
But anywho, when Bernard was saying that Dolores was scary, she was like, "Why would you be scared of me?" And I was like, "Cause Dolores, you was scary."
That was Arnold. Or
Same
maybe
thing.
it was Bernard. It might have been Bernard. We don't know. Let's
just call him Bernarnold.
I like that.
So when Bernarnold goes, something about her scares him, and she goes, "Why, Bernarnold, are you scared of me?" And I was like, "Dolores, you're fucking scary.
Yeah, you're scary as shit. Like, it's just...
Because I don't know what you're going to do next."
Here's the thing, though. We thought she was scary, and then she altered Teddy. Teddy scares the fuck out of me now. Because, bro.
That was dope. He was just like, bam! Killed the motherfucker.
Like, you know how, like, you watch stuff, and something happens in certain shows and stuff where I call it, like, you know, somebody has just completely run out of fucks. And, like, I watched this, and Teddy is out of fucks, like, completely. She, like, used them all up when she reprogrammed him and kidnapped him and shit. All his fucks are gone. Yeah. They're gone.
Like,
they're gone. He has none left. So, like, they're questioning this. What?
When he first showed up, I was like, okay, this Teddy is better. He's going to get shit done. And then he point blank just shot that dude.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. When they were, like, asking the dude questions about, like, where Abernathy is and all that shit. And he was just like, he was taking too long, so Teddy just shot him like, we'll find him. And they went and got on the fucking train.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of this episode because I was just like, Teddy's such a fucking, like, goody two-shoe, whatever. Like, you're not even fucking real, dude. Like, who gives a shit? Like, your emotions aren't real.
He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, now he's just like, boom! Dude, I fucking love new Teddy. I finally, because I like in Game of Thrones, I like the Hound. The Hound don't give a fuck. Those are my characters that I like.
I like the Hound in Game of Thrones also.
We're dealing with some serious honey badgers here.
Yeah, you're right. Honey Badger don't give a shit.
I don't know how that's going to play out for Dolores.
You're right.
Yo, and then, like, when they were on the train and Teddy gives old dude the gun, doesn't tell him what's happening at the time. He just says, here, that's the extent of my mercy, and walks away. I'm like, what the fuck is he supposed? And like,
right,
why does he want him to kill himself? Because you know, you give somebody a gun and one bullet, like, okay, you're supposed to kill yourself with it. But why would he do? Oh shit! Like,
see ya.
God damn.
For a second, at the end of the episode, you know, there's an explosion in the tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
For a second, I was like, damn, why did Dolores and them just kill themselves? I was like, what the fuck are they?
When I thought about it, I was just like, they were.
I was like, man, I'm too right. I was like, I'm too high right now.
Yeah, like when I'm like, you know, they're separating themselves from the engine and shit.
The gun and the bullet, got it.
Yeah, he was slowing. They were slowing themselves, like separating themselves, so they would actually stop before they hit the. Yeah.
That would be a funny parody though if they pulled the wrong pin and went
they stayed in the wrong car.
They're just like, fuck.
And then they're like, oh fuck, and then they blow up. And the guy with the gun's just like, oh shit, I don't need to kill myself, you know?
Like I made it.
Oh man, John, write that down.
But speaking of Abernathy, like so we saw that what is her name? Catherine?
Who?
Tessa Thompson.
Oh,
got
something Hale.
Charlotte.
Charlotte. Yeah.
Okay. And
you're supposed to know the names, Mara. Like what?
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck?
I was close. I said something with the C.
Yeah, Catherine.
Depends on who you're talking to, because some people spell Catherine with a K, because that was what popped into my head. But anyway, go ahead.
And so they were trying to keep him still so they could do whatever they need to do.
Yo, they nailed
and they're just like, they Jesus'd him to a chair.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like,
and the only thing I could think of, I'm sorry, God. And the only thing I could think of was, why couldn't y'all just paralyze him? Like,
Yo.
He's a whole bot. Like, just paralyze him from the waist down.
I thought they were gonna cut off his legs.
I did too when they had the little thing in him. Like, oh, they about to cut his legs off. I'm like, oh, wait,
like a laser thing? Are they about to laser?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. That is literally what I thought.
And then it was just a big ass nail gun.
Yeah, that reminded me actually, like, once again, Lord, I'm sorry. Reminded me of this gospel song, like, they hung him high, they stretched him wide, he hung. Yeah. Anyway, it was just like this song we used to sing in church. I'm like, yo, when they nailed him to the shit, I'm just like, and that song popped into my head. But
I got hold on. I got on the subject of Jesus.
Oh, here we go, more Jesus. We see,
What's the difference between Jesus and a picture of
Jesus? We are all gonna. Go ahead, John.
I don't want to hear
it. I do.
It only takes one nail to hang a picture of Jesus. What? That's a good joke. Come on.
What's the problem?
Jesus died thousands of years ago. Too soon? Is that too soon?
Here's the thing. That's why it's so fucked up. Because it is funny.
I hate you so much. I hate you so much for that.
Hey, I didn't write that joke. I'll say that right now. I heard it a long time ago. Don't know who told it to me, but it was goddamn funny, so I had to share it with you guys.
I'm plenty sure that I've heard it somewhere too. It's just I wasn't ready for that.
Oh shit.
All right, back to Westworld. All right, made fun of religion.
That was your fault, Mario. You brought up Jesus.
I would have never thought about Jesus had you not brought up Jesus.
I'm sorry. Would you like to hear more about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ?
Yes.
Anyway, so back to Maeve. She's in Shogun World right now, and all those fucking samurai soldiers are all dead and shit because she made them all kill each other.
She's a badass motherfucker.
Yeah, man.
I love when they slit their own throats. That's so cool. That dude, that's a fucking gangster ass way to fucking commit suicide, though.
Slit your own throat. Yeah,
dude, that's fucking.
Yeah, because and we see that she's still doing her robo psychic thing. Cause
that's just cool.
She's finding her new voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then we got a samurai duel, which I'm like, oh yeah, okay, samurai fight. Let's watch the samurais. And Japanese Hector won. What's Japanese Hector name? Anybody know?
No, something with an M. Mashulu or something
whatever.
Like that.
He's Japanese Hector. Moving on. Yeah, he
won. I knew who you meant when you said Japanese.
Exactly. So
yeah, Japanese Maeve cut her daughter's heart out.
Yeah. So Japanese Hector cut old boy's arm off, then chopped his head off. But while he was cutting his head off, old boy stabbed himself in his gut with his sword.
Trying to do seppuku.
Yeah,
that's a brutal way to go out too, shit. Man.
Yeah, like fuck that. You don't get to end me. I end me, and
right.
Yeah.
Because the sword's kind of keeping the wound closed, so it's gonna take a lot longer to bleed out, and you're gonna suffer. If you pull the sword out, it'll bleed out a lot quicker, and you'll die faster. But that's a shitty way to go too.
Well, he was supposed to like pull it to the side, and that would kill him.
Oh, just getting the spinal cord.
Seppuku. It's a form of disembowelment.
Yeah, you're supposed.
Oh,
he was supposed to do some other shit.
Yeah.
He just didn't have time to do it because Japanese Hector chopped his head off.
Yeah, right. Beheading. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
that'll end things pretty quickly.
Yeah. Let's see. So we got some more shit, some techno babble between Bernard and what's her name? Elsie, is that her name?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when they were talking about something with the code. We talked about that earlier, how, there's like this code that's supposed to just be for backing up data, but it's like blocking people from hacking and all that kind of shit. We talked about Maeve and her folks going down the laundry chute, but we didn't talk about the fact that Japanese Hector and Japanese Maeve said they weren't going. For some reason, they wanted to just stay in in their little area there.
So we don't want to learn about the outside world.
Yeah, we cool here. We know there's more, but we don't care. But the other one with the snake tattoo shit, I don't even know her Westworld character's name, but
blonde tattoo face girl chick. That's
Yeah.
what I've always called her.
I know it, and I literally can't even think of what her name is right now, but I know it.
Yeah, so
I don't.
She has some cool ass name.
Yeah, but her Shogun World counterpart did go with them.
She seems like she would.
Yeah. Well, she's another one of those who seems like she just whatever. Where can I kill people? Like,
yeah. So Maeve finally found her daughter.
Yeah.
Only to find out she's been recast.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, though. My thing is, like, I kind of knew that already. Like, did she not realize, like, that they move people around and recast them? Like, did she? It kind of seems like when she has that much access, she would know that by now.
Well, I feel like she did know because she was like, "What's your doll's name?" And she wasn't like my daughter right away. You know, she was just trying to like connect with her.
Yeah.
She realized that girl didn't recognize her. You know.
Yeah, I guess
She
it's
wasn't
one
like
thing
Mom.
to know something and one thing to see it yourself. You know. Yeah.
So right, it just kind of she was taken aback. That's why. I mean, she's a great actress. My goodness.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she's in Solo. I didn't even know that shit.
Yeah, I heard.
Sandy Newton.
Yeah.
Maeve, yeah. Hi, Luna.
But in the midst of all that, here come the Dakota.
Lakota.
Lakota, my bad.
Dakota's a state.
Well, I know that, but they were also Dakota Indians too.
Dakota Native Americans.
Well, I did that on purpose, sir. All right.
Well, we're talking about Westworld, so in this case, you're right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So, they attack and she saves the daughter and leaves the mama behind because fuck you. Runs away. She goes in there. She went in there by herself, by the way, but her crew came in and saved the day because they were like, "Oh shit, they're attacking. We got you." But in the midst of that, the narrative dude was like, "Oh yeah, I'm calling for help." Why he never did that before, I don't know, because
When did he steal the phone? I remember him stealing a phone at some point.
Not last week, but the week before.
Yeah.
Okay,
Before they reached Shogun World.
gotcha.
So I'm saying, like, watching all this, like, he had multiple opportunities because they weren't with him all the time. Like, all those times they had to change clothes and all that other kind of stuff. Like, he could have done it at other points. I'm not sure why.
Maybe he wanted to do it when he was in Westworld.
Possibly.
Snake Face Girl is Armistice.
Okay.
Armistice?
Yes.
Got it.
So they attack, crew saves them. But let's move forward to Bernard when he like plugged into the Matrix or some shit. And I'm watching this and I'm just like, he's Teddy. Why is he Teddy? Okay. And then he goes in like, oh, the fuck? Ford's playing the piano. Why is Ford playing the piano, people?
Because he's in the Matrix.
Yeah, he runs the Matrix, man.
So did Ford somehow transfer himself or create a counterpart of himself within the system?
Yes.
Are we going with that? Because we talked about that a bit earlier in this show. I'm just, reiterating it and pointing like, he's in there somewhere.
He's in the system.
And we kind of see that with his interactions with William, too, through the host. I'm like, this is
Right, he was in the little girl, and then he was in that other character, and
that whole group of people who he made kill themselves instead of helping him, and
Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So sadistic.
Yeah, man. But yeah, that was the end of this episode. Anything else you all wanted to touch on with it?
We didn't even talk about fucking William.
Oh, and him and his daughter. Yeah. And how, like, at first he thought she was a host.
Mm-hmm. He's like, yo, Arnold, or fucking Ford, Robert. I know who you are.
Yeah.
Just like, you crazy old motherfucker.
He kind of is a crazy old man. Like,
I mean, he is. I mean, then they have this whole father-daughter moment, and you're like, damn, oh shit. He's about to go back. And I was like, man, this motherfucker ain't gonna go back. He's lost. He's been in this bitch for 30 years. I was like, he ain't about to change now. He knows he's gonna die in the next 10 years anyways.
You're like, why the fuck would I go back now? Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, they had that whole conversation, like you said, and she was like, yo, just leave with me now, blah, blah, blah. We can, get back to being father and daughter.
Things out.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, cool. She wakes up the next morning, he left her there.
And You know, to be honest, when he was talking about it, like, oh, like we'll be even and stuff like that, I was like, this nigga's gonna leave. This nigga's not gonna go with her. But I also had one question though about something that what's her face said, and you know, she was talking about how like she understood as a child why the park was so interesting because she had been there. And my first thought was, y'all letting children come up in this park?
Yeah,
in the first few episodes in the first season, there were people brought their children there.
Mm-hmm.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought them in.
How did the children do it?
I don't know.
Listen, you bring your kid in there like, hey, you see that cowboy over there? Shoot him.
No.
Oh, you can kill his horse too. You want to kill his horse? Let's kill his horse.
I would have him rob the real people. I'd be raising a little thief.
Oh man.
Then I'd sell him to the park. No, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to see what you guys say.
Oh,
I wouldn't
man.
sell my kid.
Anything else?
I probably would sell my kid. But that's it.
What?
What? I'm kidding, Mara.
Anything else with this episode?
No.
It was good.
All right. We're going to end that one then. Don't forget, follow us on both Twitter and Instagram at Creation Magazine. Also, make sure you join the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Wild Wild Westworld. Correct? Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. Also, you can follow me on both Twitter and Instagram at Sir_Cussalott. That is at SIR_CUSSALOTT. Mara, where can they find you?
On Instagram and Twitter at Mara the Shark. MARADASHARK.
And John, where can they find you?
Jonny Jums, JONNYJUMS, or all social media platforms.
All right.
Including Grindr.
And what? Grinder? Oh, for sure. No, on Grinder it's Jonny Jums, and then it's like the 8 with 2 equal signs and a D. So just find me on that.
Oh man, we're gonna end this now. We'll catch you all next week. Until then, we out.
Bye.
Peace.